It's the only show that blends all things marketing with the latest in tech trends. This is The Purple Tie Show.
Well, I am your host, Blake Singleton, the tech guy. Robert Martin has stepped out of the office for the time being because he had a 2-hour conversation with Landon Porter of getting clients without being salesy. We're going to do things a little bit different this week. It's going to be a conversation with Landon Porter. And without any further ado, well, a little bit of further ado, this is a rated R show this week for some harsh language. So if you've got sensitive ears, turn back now. And without any further ado, again, here's the conversation.
I am here.
No.
What? Why is this?
What?
Wait. What's up?
What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Why can I not freaking hear myself? I can hear you. I just can't hear myself. And you know me. I love to hear myself talk.
You're a fucking sales guy, ain't you?
I am. Oh, man. All right. So, can you, Blake, make sure he can hear you?
Can you hear me?
Blake.
Landon.
Awesome. So, all right, I want to talk a little bit about, okay, so we're going to intro just a little, bullshit thing, and then I want to talk.
Do you want to use any of the notes we?
Yeah, there was something
list?
I wanted to talk about too. I want to talk a little bit about marketing, lead gen, how to use your message. I think what I did was such a profound thing for me that I feel like other business owners struggle to understand. Just be your fucking self, So that's one of the things that I want to talk about, and then we'll see if you want to chime in on any of our other topics. I think there's like two things that I think we'll be really good at. Also, the mics at the other office, the wireless ones that I'm getting together for you. By the way, I have a thing. So I have these lavalier mics, but they're wired, but they plug into like a true XLR jack.
Mm-hmm. So
these kind of kick ass. They've got a
long cable though, so if you want to move around, you can. You just hook it to your collar and you can move around, and it's like you're sitting in front of the mic at all times.
Cool. It's not that I want.
Go ahead.
It's not that I want to like get up and walk around the office so much. It's that like watching you got to be like right fucking here, right?
Yeah, and you sound great. You sound great when you're right there.
When I talk, right? I'm like all over the place. And with this mic, it's okay because it picks up fucking everything. Like you can hear my fan, you can hear cars driving by. I've got a decent mic that sounds really good when I'm right fucking here. But man, if I go like that, it goes ooh all over the place.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, when you were like, oh, the lavalier mic, I was like, holy shit, really?
This is awesome. So are you going to get a Scarlett? Are
you going to get an XLR adapter for your computer?
Yeah. I'll get whatever you tell me to get.
They're like $100, and then I'll send you the mics. So I'm going to send you, since shipping is cheap, so to speak, I'm just going to ship you like most of my lavalier stuff and let you pick out whatever the best one is that you want that works.
Cool.
And then you can either ship the other ones back or make a donation or whatever. I don't care.
Sweet.
So, with that being said, I got something cool. I won't mention it, but look at this. Isn't that badass?
That is badass.
Right. And there's like five samples that do like 3 jars a piece.
Wow.
There's a chocolate one that really, I was like, really? That's cool. Like cocoa nibs and all kinds of stuff. So
nice.
Wow. I had to go walk around the artsy fartsy flea market looking thing to get it. I felt real upscale by the time I left. Real highfalutin. All right. So
why? Because your car ran off of gas and not biodiesel.
There was a lot of bicyclists.
That's funny.
All right. So
also, if you see movement in the background, it's the dog.
Yeah, she's on the couch.
I can see her.
So anyway, all right. Y'all ready to get started and actually do this thing? Actually, we'll probably just pull outtakes out of the whole thing and just make a whole blooper reel out of the whole damn show. Oh, so
just put Yakety Sax on as the soundtrack.
Burning down the house. That's Landon said he wanted it redone with burning down the house. So it's accurate. All right.
Consider it done. I'll update Woo Woo Arm in the morning.
Oh, man. That's
awesome.
All right. So, Landon, you are the proud owner and founder of Getting Clients Without Being Salesy. So, tell everybody a little bit about the mentality and why you went there.
Sure. I have a different take on sales in general than most highly qualified salespeople, in that I don't want to just bring on any and every client that I can. The reason for that is totally selfish. I don't want to deal with bullshit, nonsense, headaches. Don't forget the R-rated rating on this podcast, by the way. I want to bring on clients that I like, that I can learn to know, like, and trust, that aren't going to cause me problems and headaches. And the sales process that I learned early on was what most people use: persuasion techniques, coercion techniques, manipulation techniques to just fucking close the deal. And what I found was that caused me headaches and problems and nonsense and shit that I didn't want to deal with. So I figured out a way to build relationships, open relationships, instead of close clients. Several months ago, I was on a path with my wife creating a course for parents to help them deal with their preteens. And in doing so, I bought a newer Facebook ads course because I figured, well, the 3 or 4 that I've been through, there's good info, shit changes, there might be something new that I might learn. I started having conversations with some of the people in that group and another 3 groups total that were about Facebook ads currently. And I started having conversations with these people, and what I was hearing was, man, I got this guy and he let me work for him for free, and I did it for a month and I got him 24 leads, and then he didn't want to pay me and sign up and keep doing this, right? The trial client thing. I started having those conversations with people. I'm asking them, hey, how do you run this kind of ad set? Like, what's the best way to do this? Should it be short form or long form, and blah, blah, blah. And they're naturally opening up to me and telling me those things. And so I'm, okay, well, what happened? Like, tell me how the conversation went. After a month or so of having conversations like that, all within a week, about a half a dozen people were like, man, you need to teach this. And I was like, no, I don't. I'm moving on from sales. I'm not a teacher. I don't want to do that. And here we are like 4 months later, and this whole thing fell into my lap. I'm teaching people how to get clients without being salesy, like, right, my way of doing things. So that's kind of how I got here.
I took your course, and I'm currently taking said course, and you teach a little bit different mentality and method. And I didn't even try. The normal sales thing is to make them feel like they're dumb, right? If you don't do this, you're obviously stupid, right? It's a deal that you just can't pass up, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And then you got the takeaway. Well, now you can't have it.
Yep.
So now you want it that much more.
Yep.
So I had a client that I reached out to me. And I was like, we're probably just not a good fit. I'm going to have to pass on this deal. And I didn't say it like that, but that's the gist of it.
Yep.
And dude, he chased for like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Please come back. And I was like, dude, this ain't going to happen. This is just not going to happen. Right. And I think it's cool. One of my talking points on the show, the podcast notes is, it took me 42 years to find people that I finally align with. And dude, there's something so like Blake is like, how in the hell can you sit on a 6-hour call on a Friday night?
It's not the fact that it's on a Friday night. It's the fact that it's sitting in the same spot for 6 hours.
What you do, okay, so the way I do it is I go get all my bathroom breaks out of the way before we get started. I get something to drink, something to snack on, and then I'm there, right? I'm just there.
I've walked in at various points in the conversation, especially the Friday night calls that last a good long while, and Landon's always there. He's always sitting there. And I'm thinking, okay, catheter?
No, his office chair it's attached to the toilet like tank.
Right.
And he's just there.
That's what I thought. Oh no.
Oh no, wait. You stopped
there's no audio.
I stopped.
I'm a dumbass. I muted myself.
I saw you start talking. I was like, oh no, you're not there.
What I was saying was I'm always in this chair. I never leave. I get up for 2 reasons. Those reasons I can't talk about on this podcast.
We don't need to know what those reasons are. But I hope one of them involves sleep.
If y'all want to know what those 2 reasons are, tune in next week.
No, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make the whole podcast available to our iTunes users and people like that, and then we'll put the shortened, condensed version on the radio station. So, hey, we got permission to be explicit as long as we put a little disclaimer at the front of the video.
Now, is that for the iTunes thing or for the radio show?
For the radio show, we just have to because it's internet, and so we can kind of say what we want to do. We just have to put a disclaimer on the front.
She's got a radio show that she airs where the guy intros himself, and it's something along the lines of, "Hi, my name is Chris something or another, and we say fuck because we can," or something like that.
Here it's a thing. People that cuss a lot, they're just uneducated to make a thing. I just don't think that deep. It's not that I'm not educated enough to find another word. It takes too damn long. I'm just like, why should I do that? But yeah, it took me 42 years to find people that I finally aligned with. And I had to tell you, dude, it is great.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. And I've met so many. So before, you know that we're in the backwoods of BFE, Alabama.
Yep. Right.
And it's just south of hell. That's why it's so hot here. It's just south of hell. You know that, right? But I have met people from all over the place. I mean, you're in Denver, right?
Yep.
And I think Tina, who we will have on the show, she's in Spain. I've met some other people in Denver, Miami. I mean, just all over the place. And they're all they have a common goal, right? And we jokingly at first was like, hey, we're the guerrilla army, but we really are the guerrilla army. We all move in sync at one time, and we're all got this common goal, and we're all helping each other out. And it's just, there's something about business. If you guys don't have a mentor or don't have a group that you're dealing with, you need to get off your lazy ass and go find one.
Mm-hmm.
This changed the way we do business.
Yep.
So
I have a mentor. I have groups that I go into where I'm not the smartest guy in the room. It's a necessary thing. If you want to progress in any area of your life, you need to find people you can align with and then model what the fuck they're doing. Mm-hmm. That's just how this works. We're all primates. I don't care what your religious beliefs are or are not. I don't care how long you think we've been on this planet. We operate that way. When you learn something, yeah, you can learn some by reading. You can learn some by listening. You can learn some by doing. But you need to find somebody who's doing the thing you want to do and then do that the way they're doing it. And then you put your little spin on it. It's called modeling. You got to do it. And the fastest way from point A to point B is find somebody that's at point B and then do the thing the way they're doing it. It's just how it works.
You made a great statement the other day, something that I hadn't heard you say before. And
maybe a Landonism.
He just said something very similar to it. It's you said that it's easier to pull somebody up from the second floor than to push somebody up from the first.
Yep.
I mean, it's really, a lot of people, they start out and they're like, I want to change the world. I want to help people. Well, that's great. Start off by helping yourself. And once you get to the second floor, help them up to the second floor and then get to the third floor, because they're going to push you to the third floor because then you're their leader. You're their, what they call it?
Guide.
Alpha male.
Lighthouse.
No, not the lighthouse. What does Russell call it? The attractive
character.
Yes, yeah. The attractive character. You are their attractive character, so they're like, ooh, you got me to the second floor. Ooh, let's go to the third. And then they'll help you get to the third, and then it's your responsibility to help them behind you.
And you were talking about clients in particular, weeding out the bad clients, the ones that
Oh, you mean the shitty ones? That's what Landon would call them, the shitty ones.
It's not. We don't normally sit in front of these. Like when we sit down in front of the mics, the brain says, "Okay, no cussing." So it's weird. I
actually have a little thing on my pop filter that says "No cussing, asshole." So this shows a little easier to do. So, but that's what your whole premise is just don't take the bad client.
Yep. And I'm going to back up and I'm going to give you my process. If you're not fully being who you are, it's really hard for people to actually relate with you, because if you're not being who you are, they're relating with a version of you that you don't naturally want to be. If that's the case, when you bring on clients, they're relating to a variation of who you actually are, and they think that's the true you. And so later on down the road, when you're in that client relationship and you're being yourself, they're like, who the fuck is this, right? Mm-hmm. Now, a really good salesperson, somebody who's using NLP and psychological warfare and mind tricks to get somebody to close and get an agreement to give money for a service or a product, they're not being a variation of themselves. They're being something totally different than who they really are. If then you have to manage that client relationship ongoing, eventually you're going to be yourself, because it's really hard to keep up a front. Well, now all of a sudden you're nothing like the person they thought they were doing business with, and they don't like you. And now there's problems because there's resentment, there's guilt, there's frustration, and they're pissed. And now you've got a giant fucking headache to deal with. I don't want to have anything to do with that.
And they don't want to stick around.
Right.
They, you get them into a 2-year contract because you're able to smooth them and, basically, mind fuck them. I guess that's, can I say that? I guess I can now. But then they don't want to stay. They're like, man, this isn't anything you promised me it was going to be.
Yep.
So I think that's the...
I want to take a step back, because you said something earlier that I was like, really? You and your wife sat down to make a course about how to deal with preteens?
Yeah. So you all know me a little bit. For your listeners who don't know me, I'm really good-natured, but I don't take any shit, and I'm not going to take any shit from my kids, right? When children go from, 4, 5, 6, 7, they're really sweet, and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. Dad, you're God. Mom, you're God, right? And they do basically whatever you tell them to do. They hit that 8, 9-year-old stage, and all of a sudden they realize, yeah, I kind of have to do what they say, but I can kind of say no if I feel like it, and I'm my own person. And the relationship begins to change. And if you don't manage that as I'm the one that's in charge, whether I'm right or wrong, you're going to do what needs to be done, and I'm going to tell you what needs to be done. If you don't have that underlying tone to the relationship and set those boundaries with your kids, they walk all over you. You've been to a restaurant, right? You've been out to dinner and there's a couple and you can see they're frustrated and their kids are acting like total shitheads, hollering and throwing stuff and spilling stuff and climbing all over right? My kids ain't going to act like that. Not because I'd be embarrassed or ashamed, but I want to teach them to be better people than that. Mm-hmm. Most people, especially in our, we're Gen X or millennials that have kids that are at that age. We were brought up in a way where our parents were like, beaten into place by their parents. And so they didn't do that shit. So we don't have any idea how to manage our kids. That's the short version of why we came up with what we came up with. We didn't deal with all of these stupid things that a bunch of our friends and, the parents of the kids our kids go to school with are dealing with. And it's really easy to say, okay, well, here's how you set boundaries. Here's how you have the conversation. Here's how you're open and honest with your kids. And here's how you guide them. And we were blown away that most parents are like, really? You can do that? Like, are you serious? Of course you can do that. They're your children. Not only can you, but it's your responsibility, because if you don't, they end up, if you don't straighten them out now, somebody in high school is gonna, and it's gonna be worse than what you do, or they go do stupid shit and don't know the consequences to it and ruin their lives.
Yeah. I don't remember the conversation that I was having, like who I was having it with, but they said something along the lines of, I'm always afraid to discipline my children because I'm afraid I'm going to get in trouble. And I'm like, why would you get in trouble for disciplining your children?
There's a difference between discipline and abuse.
Yeah, but at the same time, there's this, in today's society, it's like it's one and the same. Disciplining your child, everyone else always assumes that you're just this horrible parent that beats them all the time. That's not the case, There's plenty of parents out there that are.
Well, it's like the kid that called the cops because his mom wouldn't let him play Xbox as punishment.
Yeah. I mean, there's idiot things like that happening all the time, and I'm not an advocate of taking like a baseball bat to him, but I got my butt tore up with a belt. Hey, fly swat. My mom's favorite tool was a fly swat because it had the reach to it. I'm not talking about hobbling your kids, fucking breaking their ankles and shit, so they can't go outside and play. I'm saying discipline them if they're acting out, discipline them in an appropriate manner.
So here's what I found. I found that typically I'm a bigger guy, and typically if I find children that I don't like, I find out that it's really the parents that I don't like. Does that make sense?
Yep. If your child's an asshole, it's your fault.
I love that. I love that statement. So, 42 years to align with you guys. There was something else that I wanted to get your.
We don't normally talk about just salesy stuff the whole time. Yeah. Normally we sprinkle in some.
We sprinkle in some marketing and
tech news,
lead generation, and.
Let me ask, what do you think about chatbots? Because I'm still having issues with mine.
So chatbots, like any new technology, are going to first be utilized and manipulated by the programmers, who are usually paid by the marketers who've got the money. And the marketers usually who have the money are the marketers that ruin everything. So what we're going to see to begin with,
I'm part of that,
right? What we're going to see to begin with is we're going to see chatbots become really popular as sales tools, and they're going to figure out the shortest path from introduction to sale, and they're going to exploit that. And eventually people are going to get tired of chatbots. Now, much like email and text messaging, it works the same way, right? It's an amazing tool. When it first came out, it was amazing. Holy crap, I've got an email. And you're like blown away. And then eventually you're like, man, I'm getting emails from people I don't know. And then pretty soon you're like, yeah, I've got 52,000 emails in my primary email box, right? And I don't even look at them anymore. Now, when I sign up for something that's super, super important to me, I adjust this and do that and make sure that I get those emails 90% of the time. Chatbots are going to be the exact same thing. Here's where they're going. Here's a little nugget for those of you out there that want to do something with chatbots. what's become the most popular app on our smartphones in the last 2 or 3 years? Facebook. I won't even wait for a response. I'll just tell you. The Assistant, Siri, right? The Assistant, the Google Assistant. Amazon came out with their whatever they call it, Ariana or whatever the hell it is. Alexa. Right. Google
Ariana? Home. They're just great. That's good stuff.
Google Home, right? They're all assistants. Why? Because there's so many things that can be done that we don't have to do. Smart thermostats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Where the marketplace wants to take those things is make my life easier. Cool. Chatbot is going to become, the good ones are going to become assistants. Now, if you can think about a chatbot from that standpoint, if I end up on a travel website and the chatbot pops up and it's an assistant and it's not trying to sell me shit, it's trying to help me answer my questions and then lead me to the right place based on my questions, it gets really easy to leverage that kind of technology to build relationships with your clients. That's exactly what we're doing with our chatbots.
That's what I'm doing.
That's what I think of.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I actually had to unsubscribe from Russell Brunson's chatbot because I was getting, do you want to see this thing? And I'm like, I do, but not right now.
And it was all an all the time thing.
And it was an all the time thing.
I guess I was selfish with my chatbot for Fave Geek because I was trying to find a way to make it so that I didn't have to personally respond to every person that went on the page because it was always the same questions.
So right? I'm going to say something and then y'all can like rebuttal if you want to. The chatbot that we made for Fave Geek, right? It was a jealous kind of my time thing, right?
Right, yeah.
However, that chatbot has become a resource, a tool, an employee, if you will, that does nothing but answer questions and provide customer service, and I don't have to pay it.
Yep.
Just saying.
It's really the beginning of that whole robots are going to start replacing our jobs because the chatbot is such a little itty bitty tiny piece of code that there's really no end to what it can be programmed to help with. All the customer service people.
Yep.
Going to be out of the job.
Yep.
And you know what? You'll never have shitty customer service either.
Exactly. And there's some technology that's coming that's being toyed with right now that is it's an AI-based technology, and it's all built around the actual interaction the human side of that conversation is driving. It's a learning technology that understands here's the basis of a conversation. Here's the 10 points that we are generally dealing with as a business. Here are normally the 38 questions that are asked. This is the best way to answer it. And these, out of those 38 questions that are asked, these are the 16,000 ways humans ask about that. If you can get that chatbot to understand how to respond as a response, right? Not starting the conversation, but responding to the human side of the conversation, you remove all the human fuck up out of it.
Yeah.
And now you've got a perfect customer service process. That's where it's headed.
That was part of ours. That was how I initially programmed the one that we've got. But it's just not quite there yet because certain keywords like Fave Geek doesn't repair any Android phones anymore. It's just iPhones. So I put in keywords like
I've seen those big eyeballs. I was like, oh no, we're doing video on this one.
Nice.
And because we don't normally do that. So.
Right. But I put keywords in like Android and Samsung and LG and, the major players in the Android market so that if somebody was asking how much to repair my Samsung phone, the AI portion of the chatbot would say, oh, he said Samsung in the sentence. I need to reply with this pre-built response. And it wouldn't respond to Samsung. It wouldn't respond to Android. It wouldn't respond to LG, Motorola. I mean, none of it. It would just say, can't understand it. Please choose from one of these. It was the default answer.
Well, back then. To hear the highly unpaid intern speak of it. If you use anything other than an iPhone, you're a bastard.
I don't care
anyway.
about Jacob right now. He's just a he has injected the apple juice straight up his ass, man. There is no
listen to you.
No, seriously. Whenever he was at the office the other day, whenever they were doing the keynote,
funny. We already talked about that. Yes, he watched the keynote at the office.
He watched the keynote
iPad.
at the office on the iPad, and the minute they announced that stupid speaker,
oh man, he was googling how much it was.
Yeah, he wanted to know how much it was. He was
if he needed a part-time job.
Yeah, I mean, it was just ridiculous.
He started a GoFundMe account for that.
He did not start it. But that's the way that he is, you know. And there's lots.
He loves Apple. You know, there's some people that love it.
And he's one of them.
Jump through amazing.
I can't wait for them to come out with another, Newton, something that's just going to fall flat on its face.
Well, the last MacBook did. The last MacBook,
but they're not going to get rid of the MacBook. The MacBook's part of their main lineup. It's what made them famous, even though it's 1/10 of 1% of their overall income right now. Or whatever.
And this show is recorded on an iMac.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We don't practice what we preach. We just tell you how to be successful, not actually do it ourselves.
We are a non-biased company is what we are.
That's funny. So what are you using for your setup over there? A Mac Mini? Are you using a Mac Mini?
No.
That would so be you.
Nope. I'm a Google phone guy. I'm an Android phone guy. I'm a PC guy. We've got 2 MacBooks, one Air and one Pro. I can't fucking stand them. It might as well be, seriously, it might as well be a left-hand drive car, right? Like, I don't know if PC said, we're going to, what's the term I'm looking for? We're going to trademark the X out on the top right of the screen. And so Apple had to choose the left. Fucking serious. Are you kidding me? I've been on a computer for 15 or 16 years before I got on a Mac. It's all fucking backwards and you can't find shit. Like, really? Is that the deal? It's gotta be completely fucking opposite. It took me 3 years to figure out how to fucking use it. By the time I figured out, I was like, oh, I still don't like this.
Their mouse even scrolls backwards.
Right. It's like, really? Are you kidding? Fuck. Now, I get that there are some uses that Apple absolutely kills it at. Video and editing and all of that creative shit. And here's the deal. Apple is for all the shit you can't do.
Yeah.
And Android and PC and Google is for all the shit you can do. I'm a tinkerer. I'm a tech guy. I want to fucking get in and break it and figure out how it works and make it work better. I want to be able to take this and plug it to that and plug this to that and then have that over there work with it. Fuck, if it doesn't have that fucking Apple thing on it, you can't use it with Apple. Really? Yeah,
I'll tell you, I was the
only
Android
reason
guy.
we use the iMac is for GarageBand. I'll be straight up honest.
Whenever we first started recording, we were recording on his MacBook Pro, and we got about 20 minutes into a podcast, and it would just chug, and then we were like, okay, we got to get something better. But
and the first time it lost an hour-long interview like this, I was like, you bastard.
Yeah. There's no recovering that either.
Yeah, and I was done. I was done at that point. I was like, you know what? PC, here we come.
But back whenever I was a Google phone guy, because I wanted a Pixel so bad. I wanted a Google Pixel so bad, but I could never afford it. But the one thing
oh man.
Fuck you, Landon. The one thing that I miss the most about that is being able to
oh my God. Look, can you see that?
Nice.
Oh.
I go get my iPhone box. The one thing that I miss though is being able to swap out the launcher, because I had bought Nova Launcher long ago and it was fantastic.
I still use Nova Launcher Pro, and it's fucking amazeballs.
Yep, it is. That is my favorite. The only thing that I hated about, because the last Android phone I had was a G2, an LG G2.
Yep.
And it didn't come with a vanilla version of Android on it, so it had all the crap that LG decided to cram on there and AT&T because that's who I bought it through. But if I'd have had a vanilla version of Android with Nova Launcher on top of it, I'd probably still be using it to this day.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never understood why, and that's the only reason I'm truly a Apple iPhone fan. I get all the updates. I get not loaded down with all the extra crap. That's the only reason I love it.
I don't get why AT&T doesn't force Apple to let them put their garbage on iPhones like they do Androids, because
they don't have enough money.
It's part of the requirement to sell Apple, which is why Verizon never sold Apple phones until I think it was the 5 or the 6 came out, was because Verizon was like, we're not paying that. Are you out of your fucking mind? Nope. Mm-hmm. And all the other manufacturers just want to get their product out there, and Apple. And there's some fundamental business practices that Apple does I completely agree with. It's my fucking thing. If you want to resell it, you can't change it. This is my thing. We don't have a problem selling it. So we're going to sell it. And you can sell it if you want, but you can't change it. And the other and I will say that for the Android phones, I hate that other service providers get to put their bloatware on it. It's fucking stupid, which is why I'm a Google phone guy.
You're right.
Now,
exactly.
Saying that, I do have an LG V10 because the storage capacity on this thing and the camera is amazing for doing videos if I'm not using this. But I get all the updates. I'm in Google Beta, which is free. I get the updates to the phone 9 to 10 months before the other, like this LG V10.
Yeah, it may not get an update.
Probably not.
Because it's got the custom version of the OS that whoever you bought it through put on there. That's why I hated the LG. The LG was scheduled for 3 updates, because whenever I bought it, it was running KitKat and it was supposed to upgrade through L and M, whatever M ended up being. But
why didn't they name it M&Ms?
It may have been. I don't remember. But it never got past Lollipop. It got L, and that was it. Never got another update.
I just can't take it serious when they call it like Lollipop. Or
you can't
Kit
take
Kat.
that serious, but they call the fucking OS on the Mac like High Sierra or El Capitan. What the fuck, man?
I mean,
yeah, exactly. That face right there.
It's revolutionary. It is High Sierra. Coming to you straight from Colorado, it's High Sierra.
Exactly.
Oh man. Speaking of which, I want to hear your take on this. Did you know, because I've been doing some research, did you know that it is illegal to ship or mail pipe tobacco?
Interesting. I did not. What's more interesting than that is I buy it on the internet all the time and have it shipped from other states.
Well, now if you have a license, you can do it. But a private individual cannot. It's a year in prison. No shit.
And fines. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Because we were talking about going up and getting some pipe tobacco to mail to you.
I wanted to find something special.
The guy that was sitting next to us was like, "Oh, you can't mail tobacco." I was like, "What? That's bullshit. Of course you can mail tobacco. Why can't you mail tobacco?"
You can't.
And like back in 2008 or 2010, something like that, they passed a law saying that individuals without a license couldn't mail it because
tax dodgers.
Yep.
And that's so
because people used to order them from the Indian reservations and have it shipped, so they could bypass taxes.
I wanted to find something special, something unique that you couldn't find over there.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd be like, "Hey, this is awesome," and then send it to my buddy, and then I was like, then I could go to jail for a year, and I'm just too damn pretty for that.
Yep, I get it. I wouldn't do that either. Totally.
That
a year.
A year in prison. Can you imagine being away from Facebook for a year? I mean, the amount of work I would get done is just.
You were telling me the other day he was away from Facebook for like 50 minutes at a whack, and you boxed. It was like, hey, are you okay?
Yeah, his
were you in a wreck?
So his Messenger, I was in Messenger, and it was like up at the top it shows how long ago you were on Messenger, and it was like 59 minutes and something, and I was like, holy shit. Hey, are you okay? Do I need to send help? Have you fallen and can't get up?
Get some of them bastard tweenagers in there to help you up off the floor.
And I thought, you know what's happened? He's gone outside to mow the lawn and passed out from the heat.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I just, it's amazing to me that my business has gone from brick and mortar, I have to do this to this thing, to I've ordered a desk on Amazon, by the way, and having it shipped in. I don't use my dining room, right? I just don't. I don't have family. I don't have friends.
Oh, your friends are on the internet.
All my friends are on the internet. And until Tina comes over from Spain, I'm not, but so I've cleaned out the area, and I've ordered a desk to build an office at the house. I'm like, I'm paying like $650 for a really nice, like really, really nice office in a bank building and all this other stuff. I'm thinking 90% of my stuff happens on the Facebook, to hear the old people call it. But it's serious. Like 90% of my work happens online now, and I can do it from literally anywhere. And we talked about this. Not every state's going to love you, right? And it may not even be the state that you're living in that truly, truly loves you. So these people that are like, why can't I get ahead in life? Well, it's probably because you're in fucking Alabama. Have you tried selling in Tennessee or Mississippi? They'll buy anything because they don't know no better.
Mississippi's the poorest state in the entire union, man.
More so than Wyoming?
I mean, per capita, probably.
Wow.
I think it was hilarious the other day. Sean Manher was on.
There's like 300 people living in all of Wyoming. That's why it's the poorest state.
Hey, Sean, I was like, so you're from Alaska, right? And he goes, what? I'm from Atlanta. What the crap? I was like, oh, close enough.
Close enough in the alphabet.
Oh, man. But so I've had luck in larger cities in Alabama and outside of Alabama. Mm-hmm. Tennessee really loves me. Georgia hates me for some reason. I don't know what their problem is.
You're not Southern enough.
It's so weird. So I'm in that process that we talked about, finding the states that love me.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to tell the listeners your philosophy on that.
Sure. So, and this is specific for business and or selling stuff, right?
Okay. Well, I mean, we can make it personal if you want.
Well, I want to make sure that I'm answering the question to the right person. And here's my deal. Sales conversations are no different than personal conversations, with the exception of at the end of a sales conversation or transaction that you deem as successful, there's an exchange of money for the thing that you provide value-wise. Well, it's still a relationship. So relationships are built on know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust happen when somebody can relate to you. Going back to what I was saying earlier, a good salesperson, a highly trained salesperson, can manufacture that relatability, which is where it goes haywire, right? If you can relate with somebody, then it's easy to have the conversation of, yes, I do X for people like you to get this kind of result. And if they relate to you, then that makes it really easy to have that conversation. Well, guess what? There are certain people you're not going to be able to relate to. And if you take us as a country and break us up into states, generally some states work well with other states people-wise, and some don't. right? You're probably not the only business person in Alabama that people in Georgia can't stand. There's probably a reason for that. It's probably an unconscious reason. It's not a stated, like Montana and North Dakota, they fucking hate each other. And there's all kinds of jokes about, oh, you're a moron because you're from Montana or whatever, back and forth. Same thing with like sports teams. There's some sport teams that are rivals, not necessarily because the teams are, but the states don't like each other. If you're a business person and you're in Alabama, you probably have a hard time with people in Georgia as a rule. Now, if you know that, it's pretty easy to avoid the state of Georgia and stop trying to beat your head against the wall and get clients that are based in Georgia. Right? Yeah. People in New Orleans generally really like people from Colorado. People from Colorado generally aren't very fond of people in Texas.
I don't know of anyone that's fond of other Texans. If you're listening from Texas, this is not our opinion. This is fact. So,
this is science. You can't dispute it.
So I had an employee one time that was from Texas, and it's always everything's bigger in Texas, right? But the attitude is too, right? And it was always I'm better than you because of X mentality, and it's just like, really, dude, suck it up.
Yeah, let's take that a step further. People in the northeast part of the East Coast are difficult to deal with. New York, Jersey, Massachusetts, they talk faster, business is faster, everything's. And if you don't have that kind of mentality, it gets really hard to have conversations with people there. Illinois is kind of the same deal. Now, I'm coming from a perspective of I live in Colorado. I'm from here. I've always done business all across the country. So I've cold called and dealt with people in all of the other states. There's some states that I'm just not interested in doing business with, and I'm not the only one from Colorado doing the phone sales thing who feels that way about that state. Canadians are really fucking hard to do business with in general.
I went to Chicago for some training one time, and it was miserable. I mean, just miserable.
Yep. They are like most people from Texas, it's kind of like the attitude and the ego. People in Illinois, generally business people, actually think they are better than everybody else. Smarter, more intelligent, faster, all of it. Better decisions. That's my opinion. However, I would rather do business with somebody in Chicago because they're able to make decisions than, say, somebody in New Mexico. The whole point of this whole thing is there are people in mass that you're going to relate to naturally and those you're not. If you're in business and you're working with people in other states, it behooves you to figure out who the fuck you get along with naturally and focus on those people. If it's hard for you to do business in California, stop working in California. That's kind of the idea.
So I'll bring up something.
You would think that would be, I just want to say, you would think that would be common sense, but as Robert is fond of saying,
my favorite saying in that is common sense isn't a flower that grows in everyone's garden.
I like that. It's very eloquent.
Well, it's a lot better than looking at him and go, "You stupid boy."
Which is how my father would have said it.
I'm Blake's father.
There's nothing creepy about that. Oh man. So there's some back and forth about, moving the office and working kind of the term nomad is being thrown around like
it's a guru word.
It's
right. Yes. Guru Ninja Nomad.
Here's the thing. If you don't have a place to go on the regular and you're just traveling around the country, that's called homelessnism. Homelessnisms?
Homelessnessisms.
I think I just made up a word, but
man,
that's not.
It's like noon on Sunday. Have you been drinking?
You'll never know. So no, the last call I got banned off of, I was drinking. It was your call. Actually, it was your fault.
Did you kick him off the internet?
No, he did. He kicked me off the internet for the night, but. I was, in all fairness, I was sitting in my corner, quietly listening, stalking everyone, right? And then Landon goes, "Hey, Robert, are you still there?" I'm like, "How would you poke the drunk gorilla?" Right? I'm gonna come out and be like, "Yeah, I'm here. What do you want to know?"
We call those people lurkers, the ones that just sit and chat and don't interact.
Yeah.
And consume the whole thing.
Yep. I was behind a tree peeking out. I was a creepy lurker.
There's nothing creepy about that.
No, not
especially
at all.
with all this awkward silence now.
Well, Landon's cleaning a pipe or something. So there's a lot of.
Well, wait a second. I want to go back to something else real quick. Because you said you were a Google guy. How do you feel about them being fined like $2 billion over in Europe for the product search fiasco thing? Did you hear about that?
I don't give a fuck. I don't, and here's why. It's a tool that we have access to, and we're paying for it in ways that we didn't anticipate when we said, yeah, I'll use that for free. And it's so far down the path of we don't have privacy. It's not always accurate. All of those different things. The bottom line is if you make a decision to use something and it doesn't get you the result you thought you were going to get, okay. Now, if I go buy a car and the fucking brakes don't work and I get in a car accident because the manufacturer fucked up, yeah, I'm not happy about that.
Well, you expected it to work a specific way, a way that it was advertised to
because
work.
I paid damn good money for it.
Because I fucking paid for it.
Right.
If I ain't paying for it, you know what I mean?
Insert auditory smirk there.
Well,
Right.
I mean, the thing is, though, Google has to find a way to pay to keep all their servers running, all that other stuff.
They've found a way. Their ads pay for. They make so much money off of ads.
I make money off their ads too, and I like it. But so I want to go back to this thing because I really want to hear your take on it. So I'm looking at doing the whole nomad bullshit, if you want to call that thing, right? But you build the home office because everything I do works off the internet, right? And my philosophy is the larger cities in Alabama. And I know a lot of people are like, man, I can't wait to build a business where I can get out of the house. And I'm like, I built a business. I can't wait to get back in the house. But if you're in Huntsville, Alabama, I'm in Decatur, Alabama. There is nothing happening here but dreams are dying. That's the only thing that happens in Decatur,
and
Alabama.
Everything smells like cat food all the time.
We're the largest manufacturer of cat food. But if you own a pizzeria in Huntsville, Alabama, which is about 25 miles from here, you're going to expect me to drive my ass to you, right? You're not going to pile in a car and drive to me and then come sit in my fancy office and drink my Kroger brand coffee. And, you're not going to do that. You're going to have me come to you. And if you're in Birmingham, which is an hour away, you're definitely not coming, right? We're either going to do this whole Zoom thing like we're doing, or you're going to force me to drive down there, which is going to suck. At what point does business start to turn? Because, the highly unpaid intern, which you don't know, we'll have to introduce you sometime. He's like, well, I said, well, look at Apple. They're huge, right? Because that's this big thing is Apple. If Apple can do it, if I can prove to them that Apple does it, I can justify it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, Apple has people that work all over the world, and they don't have to be in a boardroom to make decisions. And he's like, no, they fly everyone out for their keynotes, and and I was like, you mean to tell me, you as a retail person, right? You meet people at the door. For Apple. You work for Apple. You mean to tell me that they pack you up and send you to a keynote once every 6 months or 8 months or whatever, because you sell MacBooks to suckers as they walk in the front door? And he's like, well, no, but they have a volunteer program that you can do this thing, and then you get your thing over there paid for. And I'm like, hold up now, but are they going to? So you have to work, but they'll fly you out. And like,
so wait, what's the question? You've kind of rambled off the point here.
I know,
I'm not really sure where this is going.
I do side tangents sometimes, a lot. Actually, we do the whole show as side tangents sometimes. What do you feel now that you've gotten out of the corporate selling world and into what you're doing now, teaching people like me not to be assholes when they sell stuff? How has moving from an office environment to a home environment, like, what's the pros and cons?
I just want to comment on your home environment real quick. I'm a big fan of that big cock in the upper left-hand corner of the screen.
We're not posting the video. People are just going to be like, "Wow, how to get to the left-hand corner of the screen?"
My wife painted that rooster. I have a couple of different spirit animals. One is a rooster because I'm a cock. I'm cocky, and the other one is a gorilla because I'm a gorilla. So there's pros and cons to what I do. One of the pros that's big for me is that I don't have to fucking go anywhere. I don't have to leave if I don't want. And most of the time I don't want. I want to hang out at my house with my woman and my dogs and my kids. That's where I want to be. Do I want to travel the world? Yes. Do I want to always be on the road? No. That's also a con, right? Sometimes we'll be like, fuck, it's been 2 or 3 weeks since we've like actually been out of the house other than going to the grocery store, right? The biggest problem with that for most people is, okay, cool, I can work from home. I can do what I do whenever I want, and they don't do the thing, right? Because being home and the distractions and, I don't have to go somewhere and sit somewhere. For me, it's the opposite. I love what I do. I do it all the time. I do it all day. I do it 7 days a week. I actually am later on today, I'm working with my team to figure out how to schedule me off on a day, like no internet, 1 day a week, right? That can be a pro or a con. For me, it's a pro because I love doing what I do and I don't have to leave. I mean, literally, my commute is 2 flights of stairs. So that's one of the things that has some pros and cons to it. Another thing is I don't have to deal with traffic. It snows here in Colorado.
Yes.
Like sometimes it snows here in Colorado. And to not be expected to have to drive across town to go to work is amazing. I don't put wear and tear on our vehicles because I'm not driving across town. Like literally, my office used to be in traffic about an hour away. It's only 23 miles door to door, but it's an hour. That's stupid. What a waste of life. Yeah. To me, that's a pro, right? I also, since I work from home, doing the thing that I do, I'm not across town in the middle of the day with nothing to eat, and I'm not going to take a sack lunch. So now I'm not spending $15 to $30 a day, 5 days a week, going out to lunch. Mm-hmm. And then on Fridays, going out to the bar with the guys and driving home fucking drunk, right? There's a lot of those. Probably my favorite is I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. I've got a certain amount of work that I got to get done, but I can do it whenever. Yeah. I'm a night person. I'm not a morning person.
Yeah.
So I can structure my day any way that I want. And when it comes to the being able to travel thing, there are some people that they just want to be on the go, and all you need is an internet connection to do what we do. Yep. That's fantastic for them.
Yeah, because you bring your internet connection with you.
Well, so my thing, okay. So the other question is, if you do a Zoom call with a potential client, and you can tell, like if you look in here, I mean, other than the mist that's over here in the corner, you can tell that I'm in a house. I'm not in an office somewhere. Do you think that there's a stigma that goes along with that?
I think for some people, some people are going to expect when they get on a Zoom call with you that you're a business and it doesn't look like a house. It looks like an office. Mm-hmm. You know, you shut the closet door behind you. You don't have the TV on the stand behind you. The desk and whatever behind you looks like a desk. It's an office, right? My answer is I don't give a fuck. If they don't like it, they're not for me. That's like fundamentally the way that I see it. However, I understand what you're saying. And the reality is you need to present yourself the way that you are. And if you're a business, present yourself as a business. Just don't be something other than who you actually are in doing that.
See, I think the front can be set up to look like an office, and then I've got a really nice red wall that was the dining room wall, and so I'm going to set up so that when I do video, I shoot against that wall, and we decorate with some really nice pictures or whatever. Something that makes it look like Bobby did. He made that corner. And that's where he videos, And so I think that's what – and, I mean, we're right on the river. I mean, we're 18 minutes – not even 18 minutes, probably like 8 minutes from the Tennessee River and all the beautiful bridges and all the stuff. And, you could do the video out and about if you wanted to.
Making the front room – because right now we're in one of the spare rooms, right? Making the front into an office is not going to be difficult. And I think it's good to have that sort of separation. Like you've always heard, I don't know if you've heard, but everybody's always talking about how you don't use your bedroom to do work in because your body learns to do work there instead of to rest there. So having a place to go separate from where you rest is always a good thing in my opinion. And I think that that's going to work really well for the home office thing.
Yeah, I don't think it has to necessarily be a physical separation either. Like I'm going to walk out of the office and shut the door. Like the other side of my dining room is the living room, and it's a couch and all that. I think if you leave that, I mean, you can have a disconnect from the office by going over to the living room, plopping down, or I want to keep the studio here with all the audio equipment and everything back here. So it's going to be my entire house's work right now, or it will be. It will be in about 6 months. And, my lease is up in a year. And so I'm trying to decide, okay, I can either pay my house off twice as fast, right? And I've only got like a 15-year mortgage and I'm like 10 years away. So I can pay my house off in 5 years. Or I can continue to pay basically what I pay for my house in rent to somebody else to sit in a fancy office somewhere with, I don't get any, I don't think I get any more work done there than I would here. That's a fear.
But there is that feeling, you go to quote unquote work and you accomplish things.
I worked from the house for about a week one time. I worked from the house for about a month one time, a few months back. And like at the end of the day, I'm just like, fuck, I didn't get anything done. And then I look back at the month, I'm like, damn, I got a lot of stuff done. But when you're in the middle of it, you're like, I'm not getting anything done.
To be fair, you were on bed rest because of illness.
Yeah, I was. It's basically how that works. I still worked.
Well, I totally believe that your bedroom should be like sacred, right? My wife, her phone is on 24 hours a day in case there's emergencies or whatever. I shut my phone off before I go to bed. We don't have a TV in our room. I don't fucking do any kind of anything in there other than sleeping, making love. And then our bathroom is attached to our bedroom. So I shower in there, right? I don't do any work in there. I have an office that's set up in part of the house. And this is where I do my office stuff. I think there should be some separation to that, because especially if you like to do the thing that you do and it's work, if you love doing it, you find yourself doing it all the time. And that's kind of the place that I'm at right now in building the thing that we're building. But when I'm not sitting here in this office, my mind is also not just stuck here. Which I think is a good thing. I think you need to have not necessarily a balance to it, but there's more to life than the thing you do, right?
I mean, I love business. I love marketing. I love what I do. Literally, I could do it 24/7, 365. I'd probably 2 years straight, I'd get burned out. But, I mean, I love it. I could do it all the time.
Yep.
I know you're wanting to chime in.
No, I'm not. I don't have anything
Blake's like, no, I'm not into that.
I'm not touching that.
Oh, man.
We've talked about it enough to know. Me and him talked about it enough to know that if business ever stops, it's because of one of two things: either he died, or he became brain damaged in some way that he's not able to continue. That's how dedicated to work. Period. He is. It's not like
I work on.
We haven't always said. People always say work-life balance, and Robert says, no, there's not a work-life balance. It's just life.
It's just life.
That's how I see it.
Because if it's not just life, then you're miserable half the damn time.
Right.
And it's not worth it.
That's when work becomes that 4-letter word, and the rest of life is angry and bitter and frustrated because it's like, fuck, I'm not spending my time doing the thing that I want. Right? Look what I got.
Oh, man, that's pretty badass.
Wood. It's carved wood. Case for my Google Pixel phone.
I kind of want one now. I didn't realize how awesome that was. Dude, that is badass.
You know what? It's funny. Wood seems to be making a comeback. I was listening to somebody talk about wood. You like that?
Hang on, the 12-year-old in me.
Somebody was talking about wooden stickers the other day.
Yep.
And I thought, no, that's horseshit. There's no such thing as wooden stickers. And I went online and looked, and I was like, holy shit, there's wooden stickers.
Yep. It's making a comeback because everything's been plastic for so long. And we are, as like in the 70s and the 80s, plastic. Fuck, it was all plastic or rubber, right? And then we realized, it's fake. It's ruining our planet, right? It's nice to have the change, all kinds. And that's exactly why I got these. I'm looking at a pair of sunglasses that are wood-framed sunglasses.
Who are you getting that stuff through?
I got this case from a company called Carved. It is, no, it's kind of backwards. I'll show you. It was $30, and they make cases for everything. I think they're. This is
carvedcases.com.
Their Facebook is /carved LLC. Interestingly enough, you want to talk about some interesting stuff. They don't even list a website on here. They've got their Facebook, they've got their Instagram, their Twitter, and their Snapchat, and no website.
Interesting.
I wonder if they have it and just don't.
Oh, I'm sure. I buy everything from Amazon, right? Amazon is, why would I leave my house if I don't have to try it on? Right? But
I'm totally ordering shoes from Amazon later today.
Absolutely.
I mean, so Blake did the math for him, and he was like, I can order
carve.com. I just searched for it.
Carve.com?
Yeah.
Cool.
CARVED.com.
We'll put that in the show notes. He can actually order toilet paper and have it shipped
cheaper
for the same or a little cheaper because you have wear and tear on the car and gas and all that other crap to go get it and just have it shipped to the house.
See, but here's the weird thing though. Like you got to watch it because Amazon's got the whole pantry thing where you can put it on subscription, which is what I was considering doing, right? Because I want my toilet paper on subscription, but you've got to pay attention to the pricing because the toilet paper that I was looking at was like $5 more expensive on pantry than it was just ordering it from whoever on Amazon.
Yep.
And that puts it over the cost of what I would have paid at a store.
Blake's thrifty.
I'm not thrifty. I'm just my dog's pads get shipped every 3 months because, why?
Hey, she's got to poop somewhere.
Why drive to Walmart and pay $30 for pads whenever I could, just get them delivered to my house?
Have Amazon deliver them.
Yep.
But yeah, it's strange. We've evolved, and we talked about this. I think it was me and you that talked about or maybe it was on the call that we talked about the pendulum, right? Mm-hmm. It's gone from a we society, right, to an I society, and it's kind of going back to a we society, but it's happening. The we is happening on the internet now instead of the old time social bar where you would sit around and, we literally, Friday nights started off called, a drink and a smoke, and you sat down and you had a glass of wine, and that's just the way it was.
Yep.
And it was cool. But one of the comedians that I watched said it the best, right? Back in the early 50s and 60s, the doorbell would ring, and everybody would be like, yeah, the doorbell's rung. Who's here? Oh my God, honey, look who it is. Go fix the pie. And kids, come here, look. It's, and it was a big thing, and now when the doorbell rings, it's like, who the fuck is it? Right. And I'm hiding behind the blind and peeking around the corner, and I'm G.I. Joe-ing it, right? I'm like, that shows my age, doesn't it? I'm G.I. Joe with that thing, looking around the blind going, who's here? I was angry that my own sister dropped by the other day.
Yep. Yeah, how dare you? This is MySpace. What do you do? You can't call? And then when they call, you're like, really? You can't send me a text message?
Yeah.
Really?
So I know you have some place to be, so I don't want to keep you let me know when you got to run because we'll wrap it up. But I kind of want to hear your philosophy on this as well. So we talked about setting expectations for the customer, right? This is what you're going to pay. This is what you're going to get, and this is how we're going to get it. Somebody even went to the point of building structure. It's a general bullshit thing. Send me an email. Oh, it's an emergency. Text me. Mm-hmm. Oh, something's on fire. Go ahead and give me a call. Yep. Right? How did you feel about that? Because you just got through saying, what the fuck? You couldn't text me?
And that's actually exactly how I feel about it. There are levels of need of my time, right? If it's something that you don't need a response right now, then send me a message on social media or on email, right? If it's something that's a little bit more important, text me. If it's a fucking emergency, call me. And when I don't answer because I'm not going to, call me again. Because then I know if you call me twice in a row, oh, this is important, and I take the call. If it's, something bad happened and I'm leaving town and I stop by to say bye, got it. Right? And that's kind of how I feel about it. There's so many people on this planet. We only have so much separation and so much privacy and so much solitude that it's sacred, right? We are so connected now with the internet, and we're becoming the actual connection is back down to one-on-one connectivity via the technology that we've got. You've got access to me if I respond whenever you want, right?
Right.
Because of that, it's that thing. It's not a big deal. You don't need to respond right away. So much so that we tell people, hey, FYI, I don't need a response right away. Just wanted you to know XYZ. Perfect.
Yeah.
Right? 20 years ago, if you got an email, it's like, holy crap, I got an email. I got to respond. I drop everything else that I'm doing.
Because it was instant. It was the instant communication of the time. Before that, if there was a phone call, it was like, oh my God, the phone is ringing. Stop everything and answer the phone.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you my epiphany moment whenever I realized that we were being trained, because we are totally being trained. Mm-hmm. I was in college back in 2001, 2002, and I had some friends over at the house. There's that jug of water. I was expecting that at any point.
It's not fair. He can see me, but I can't see him.
I'm over here. See, this is where I am.
We need to just mount we need to do this more often and just mount a camera up in the corner and just record the whole show so you can see everything.
The entire, it's the diaries, the show diaries. Anyway, so me and my friends were over at the house. We're playing video games or whatever we were doing, right? And I had my computer set up in a corner of the living room. And I'd forgotten that I had the speakers on, right? So back then, I was on MSN Messenger. Does everybody remember that? And I don't remember the tone that it sounded.
Yep.
But there was a little tone that it always played whenever you got a message. And one of my friends got up and walked over to my computer. And I was like, what are you doing? He was like, oh, Messenger went off. I've got to answer it. I was like, dude, that's my Messenger. That's not yours. You need to come over here and get away from my computer. God knows what's on there. I'm a college student. But he didn't even think about it. He immediately stopped what he was doing, got up, walked over to the computer, and because that was the instant thing then. At that point, email was passé, phone calls were passé, text message was, still pretty new, but mostly passé. But messaging, oh my God.
I will tell you, I will answer a Facebook call faster than I will a regular phone call. Like Sue called yesterday and called me via Facebook Messenger, and I was like, something's wrong.
You know what? That is another perfect example of us living in the future. She doesn't even need your phone number. Mm-hmm. All she needs is a connection to you, and she can call you at any time.
My sister calls me via Facebook Messenger
because she knows
she
that
doesn't have my phone number.
She doesn't have your phone number, and she
I'm a bad person.
She knows that she can just continue to let it ring until you pick up. There's no voicemail on Facebook Messenger.
So annoying. So annoying. I'm like, you don't have my number for a reason, And
now you're fucking calling me on Facebook, really?
Yeah.
Bye-bye. I'm unfriending you.
Oh man, but I just think it's we all side tangent just then into this thing. We were talking about the office and working from home and the pros and the cons, and one of my big pros is I started out at 700 pounds. I could barely freaking move, right? Mm-hmm. And I've lost, over 200 pounds now. And it's a way for me to keep myself accountable and eat healthy. I can prepare to go to the gym throughout the day. I can do the other crap that I need to do, like freaking put on a load of laundry and just let it go while I'm working, or put a load into dry or whatever. And I can there's so much, the pros really outweigh the cons. Mm-hmm. Being able to pay the house off in, half the time, that's a big freaking pro right there, But that's just kind of so I know you've made the transition. So that's why I'm like, Landon, please tell me how good it is.
So how big is your workspace? You said you've got a dedicated space for the office for you to do work. How big is that? Like a 6 foot by 6 foot cell?
It's way bigger than that.
A 6 foot by 6 foot cell. Are you serious?
I'd have to measure, but this room, our house was built in the late 60s, and so we've got that split level, right?
Oh yeah,
Half set of stairs up to the main floor.
Yeah,
this room I think is 14 this way by 21 this way.
Holy shit, that's like a basement.
It is. It's actually. It's almost as big because it's a split level, right? The basement isn't the entire floor print. Am I saying that right? I don't know why it doesn't sound right. The basement's not the same.
The same size as like the first.
The whole house.
Yeah.
Right.
The only thing I can think of right now is the basement is printed out of a different material.
It's 3D printed basement.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it was built in the 60s, there's
another side tangent. There's
a graveyard underneath it if it was built in the 60s.
Probably an Indian graveyard. But did you see the 3D printed house? It literally prints it out of concrete, and there's like a robotic arm, and it prints the whole damn house.
I haven't seen that.
I would have one.
That's neat.
So anyway, we digress though. Your office, working from home. Tell me, how good is it?
It's fucking awesome. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. The schedule that I am available to do the work part of what I have to do is totally flexible. If I decide that, I want to go to the store because I'm out of coffee, I ain't got to wait, right? I don't have to clock out. I just go. I get to hang out with my woman all day long. That's the awesome sauce.
That's cool.
Right? My office is my office. There's nobody else in my space. There's no one that I've got to share an office building or an office with that I don't want to.
Bathrooms is a big thing for me. Having to share bathrooms with other people is just kind of gross.
Yep. I have my own that's right off of, I don't know if you guys can hear that. My phone's going absolutely bonkers. I've got my own bathroom off of my office, and I'm the only one that uses it. It's nice.
Is that Messenger going off?
Yeah.
Is that normal?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Did you just turn that on or something?
No, what happened, the whole guerrilla army just woke up, and everyone's sending him a good morning text at 12:30. Is everything okay, or are you going to have to run?
No, it's good. I just got 16 messages from the guerrilla army.
Here's the
something happened and everybody followed.
So I used to wake up to like 3 or 4 Facebook messages, and it was like, that's cool. And now I wake up to like 60. So I can't imagine Landon, right? He wakes up to like, I'm sure 600, but I wake up to like anywhere between 29's low, right? That's the low end. The high end is almost 100. And it's, you've been mentioned, you've been tagged, you've been, and it's like Bobby mentioned you here, and this person mentioned you there, and this person tagged you in this, and someone commented on a post you're following, and it's just like, good grief, man.
So I haven't really interacted with the group all that much.
That's because you're a bad person.
Right. But I understand why people are attracted to the group. It's because Landon is genuinely interested. You are genuinely interested in most everything.
And genuinely interesting.
Yeah,
that's the other.
There's always you've always got. I keep forgetting you're here. Like I can talk to you. I'm talking to him in third person. Like he's in Colorado.
Usually we only talk about people,
right?
Not with people. So,
but you're genuinely interested in whatever they post, and you have something to add to it. That's not just like, hey, cool. Here's a thumbs up. Thanks.
Right.
That pisses me off to no end. Here's the thing. If I pour my heart out to you, right? If I'm like, Landon, you changed my life and you did this and I'm blah, 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 and I write you a paragraph of just awesome sauce, right? And you send me a thumbs up. That is the biggest assholeism, right?
That's why that's my that is my most used emoji. on Messenger. Because it shows you if you install the Google keyboard on your iPhone, you get a common emojis that you use the most in this little block on the left-hand side.
Mine would be the middle finger.
Mine's the thumbs up.
And they mean the same thing.
This is, hey, good job, piss off.
Congratulations, you wrote words.
Just piss off. Yeah, congratulations, you wrote words. But anyway, that's. I just wanted somebody that had made that transition from. Dude, have you got a train going by over there?
I think that's just his AC.
Can you hear that now?
Yeah, I can.
It must have just turned on.
What'd you do? No.
I didn't do anything. The swamp cooler has been on since before we got on this call.
The swamp cooler?
I almost wonder if it's not me because nothing sound-wise has changed here in the last 10 minutes.
Really?
Now I can't hear it at all. Completely gone.
That's interesting.
That was odd. I like it.
It got super loud for just a second, and then it went away.
Wasn't me.
Wow. So, for someone who is on the fence, because I bought an online course. It was awful. Right? We'll leave it at that. We won't mention names. Take the innocent. For people who think that, this whole online bullshit is just that. It's just bullshit. And it can't really learn anything online to change your world, to change your life. What would you say to that?
I would say that as a general statement is inaccurate. And I would say that anybody who actually thinks that is closed-minded and they haven't done the research. There's a lot of people, and the barrier to put your information on the internet is super low. And you've got to have a little bit of common sense, and you've got to be able to look through the BS and see things for what they are. With the exception of super high-end degrees like actual rocket science, actual like becoming an attorney, becoming a doctor, in 20 years from now, I don't think that you will go to school. It will be online programs that are vetted by professionals in those industries. The online e-learning system that's being created right now is and will create all schooling within the next, I believe, 30 to 40 years completely, with the exception of super high-end stuff. Like, you're not going to learn how to play, the Juilliard on the East Coast for like super high-end music people. That you can't replicate on the internet.
So I know we're quickly like coming up on the timer mark, but now you've got me. You've intrigued my thought process. What do you think will happen? So the e-learning, that makes a lot of sense, right? Mm-hmm. But I think there's still this core thing that school, as like elementary, grade school, that sort of thing, high school teaches you about dealing with other people and things of that nature. So how do you think they'll try to overcome that?
It'll be interesting to see how it happens. The education that is structured now is set up to teach people how to be industrial workers, right? That's it. Right. It just is what it is. It's beginning to change. You cannot be a whole person without learning the social norms of the culture that you're being brought up in, right? My social norms are slightly different than yours because we're from a slightly different part of the country. Right. However, the actual learning process, I believe, will be done on the internet. My kids, they don't use papers at school anymore. Like, it's going that direction. It's becoming paperless. You get your homework assignment at school, and then for the homework, you do it on the internet. And they go to a really, not a super high-end private school, but they go to one of the nicest schools in the state. And it's all going that direction. I think eventually you will go to school and be present there for learning the social aspect of dealing with other people, but your actual work will be done on the internet.
So are they sent home with laptops and stuff now as well? Because that's the push that happened here
a few years back.
But I think so. Chromebooks, right?
Yep.
I think that's kind of where the school system is probably headed. And they realize, okay, well, Google,
they need to, because whenever they made the push, netbooks were still a big thing, right? And they were garbage.
Well, it pisses me off. You're teaching them to be locked into this one thing. You're not teaching them Google Docs online. I use Office 365 just because I love it, right? But it's online, really. I mean, you download the program to the PC, but you can use it on
web
the
versions.
internet.
You can use the Chromebook with Office 365.
I mean, Chromebooks will do everything as far as like the
most everything,
slideshows and stuff like that.
What I was going to say earlier, we were talking about working off the internet, being that your main platform was the internet, and it's like 90% of what you can do, what you need to do, can be done from a tablet or a phone.
Yeah.
Right? 90%. The next 7 or so percent, you need something like a Chromebook, something that interfaces as a laptop or a desktop to whatever website you need to go to. And then that last 3%, you need a full-fledged computer with a program to do a specific thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do 2/3 of my stuff on an iPad. I mean, so with the way we're moving the company, where we have remote workers and stuff, my iPad is my telephone, right? Mm-hmm. I have a program that loads up and everybody calls out from the same number, and it's just an application on my iPad. And it's super cool. It works really, really well. But you're right. 2/3 of my stuff, I mean, our Friday night Zoom calls, I'm on my iPad. Mm-hmm. I'm on the computer. I'm laid up on the couch. I'm halfway comfortable. So I think work on the internet and work from home,
it's going to be the same for school.
It used to be that stigma.
To go back to what we were talking about, to bring it back around, it's the same. It's the same. No, the internet has made things so much easier. You can do almost everything from home. Almost everything. And the way that you figure out that you're living in the future is you think back 10 years, just 10 years, to when the internet's fastest speeds was
dial up.
Well, 10 years ago, it was 2007, right?
Yeah. I think
your fastest speeds was like 5 megabits per second.
Yeah.
And that was high end. You were paying like $300 a month for that.
I got 100 sitting right over here.
And in order to watch movies on the internet in 2007, you had to use think about the resolution. Think about the resolution that Netflix was pumping out. It was standard resolution. Yep. It was tiny, but you watched it on your TV, and you thought, "Oh my God, I'm living on the internet."
And now we stream online.
You stream higher definition to your phone over cellular data than you did over your landline connection back in 2007.
Yep.
I know people that don't have landline connections to anything.
I don't. I hate it. So I know I want to talk to you a little bit, and so we need to wrap this up so that we can, carry on and talk about, other stuff. But your group on Facebook is Getting Clients Without Being Salesy. And
we'll put a link to that in the show notes.
We'll put a link to it in the show notes, but it's facebook.com/groups/jungle juice, right?
That's Gorilla Juice.
Gorilla Juice. See, I knew I'd screw something up today. It was the most important thing. So, thanks for joining us today. I really am grateful. You've done so much for our business and for the way that we think about things. I wanted you to share your knowledge with more people. So,
thank you. I appreciate you having me on the show.
I appreciate you being here, and we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah, let's do.